From Pennsylvania is recognized for 3 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Mr. Speaker.
You're next.
For the 6th time, I rise calling for a change in direction in Iraq. For the 6th time, I call on the President to stop sending our brave men and women to referee a religious civil war. For the 6th time, I call on this administration to focus our efforts in fighting the Central Front on the war on terror by killing Osama bin Laden and destroying al-Qaeda in Afghanistan. Mr. Speaker, last week countless folks back in Pennsylvania stopped me and asked, aren't you frustrated by this president who refuses to listen to Congress and the American people? I told them, I'm frustrated that our president refuses to follow the advice of military experts and the will of the American people. I'm frustrated because my fellow paratroopers are still fighting and dying in the 138-degree heat of a Baghdad summer. I told them that I will refuse to stop fighting for the best policy for our troops and our families back here at home. Mr. Speaker, leaving our troops in the middle of a religious civil war isn't resolute, it's reckless. No question that change is slow, but take heart, America. Change is coming. Congress is not going to stop. President Bush, the legislative branch of government is back, and we're not going away. We will change a course in Iraq and fight for a smarter global war on terror. Some Republicans have questioned the patriotism of my fellow Democrats, even former soldiers here on the House floor. But those type of Republicans are the exception and not the rule. In my short time in Congress, I have learned that most of my colleagues across the aisle are good, decent, and patriotic Americans. Mr. Speaker, I know how much pressure my friends across the aisle are under from the President, from their party leaders, to stay the course. But I asked you as a soldier, as a father, and as a colleague, to acknowledge what the status quo entails. It means additional mornings, walking to our desks here in the halls of Congress, holding our breath, and hoping we don't get word of another fallen soldier. Mr. Speaker, I implore my Republican colleagues who know in their heart that we need a change. I implore you to think about how many more of these calls that you have to make. How many more calls to wives, to fathers, to mothers, we all will be forced to make if we don't take action. I've heard the other side. I asked additional 45 seconds.
Additional minute to the gentleman.
The gentleman is recognized for an additional minute.
I've heard the other side say 4 more months. This president has had his 4 months. He's had his 4 years and 4 months. In 2004, the president said, we're turning the corner. In 2005, the vice president said the insurgency was in its last throes. In 2006, that was the year in transition. And now in 2007, the president says, well, just be patient. In the last month alone, in Bucks County, we have buried 4 of our finest sons. 4 names have been added to the memorial board outside my office. I, for one, don't want to add any more names. My Republican colleagues, you have the power today to stop these tragic phone calls, to stop adding faces and names to our memorials. Let's change the direction in Iraq and get back to fighting a smarter war on terror together, not as Democrats and Republicans, but as Americans. I yield back the balance of my time.